Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I am blessed and honored to be with you today. We have a phenomenal guest coming to us from London, England. Vivi Cahyadi, the CEO and co-founder of AltoVita, is with us today, talking about platforms, talking about mobility technology, travel and hospitality, futurism, all that cool stuff. She's got a great story, so I can't wait to talk to her today about all that. We've also got the book club book of the month for the month of August called Take Control of Your Job Search. 10 emotions you must master to land the job. Got to master all 10, or at least most of them. Good luck with that. If you don't have a job, this is a great book for you. If you know somebody that doesn't have a job, this is a great book for them as well. If you want to come on and actually discuss the book with us, you can come on live on August 31st. We have a little book club book discussion. If you come on, you get a free book. It's a great way to get a free book. So hit me up, hit Janet up, and we will get you booked for that. No pun intended. Whoa, there we go. All right. Let's go ahead and bring out our guest. Vivi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much, Ben, for the opportunity, for being here. I'm really excited.
Yeah, this is great. So where in the world are you coming to us right now from, Vivi?
Well, you said it, London, England.
And what time is it in London?
It's only 9.
Yeah.
Bright and early.
I love when we do these, and I love when the UK folks start chiming in, and they're always like having a couple of cocktails or something. You know, we're over here, still at work in the US, and our friends over there get a little saucy in the comments. Yeah, it's great. This is wonderful. So Vivi, let's see here. We got some folks coming in from the comments. Let's check in with those folks before we get started. Let's see. We've got Tracy Denora coming in. Good afternoon. Hey, Tracy. I think Tracy from Jersey in the house. All right. Let's see here. We got Henri. Hello, good people. Hey, if you're watching right now, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the little heart button for Vivi there as well. Send some love out there. Wonderful. Let's see here. We got Jamie Massler. Hi, Ben and Vivi. Cheers from beautiful, sunny Mississippi. Now, Jamie, this show is for you, Jamie, because Jamie has been our resident international corporate housing expert on the show.
Oh, we've got a lot to learn from you.
Yeah, so Jamie's the guy to know. Jamie, I expect you to be super active in the comments and come through with some excellent questions for Vivi. Let's see here. We got Fernando. Hello from Brazil. Have a good week all. What's up, Fernando? Good to see you. Let's see here. I'd love to hear about the housing situation in South America, because we've been talking about that, Vivi. I don't know. Did you see kind of LATAM week and stuff?
I did see a few. I also saw Patricia's show, the full show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we also talked about LATAM a lot. So
yeah,
very excited. Actually, that's part of our symposium upcoming in November.
Yeah. So that's going to be really cool too. We should probably talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah.
So, Clary. Hi, Vivi.
Hi, Sandra.
There you go. Now, Sandra's got a background in corporate housing as well, Sandra. So.
Yes, I know. We connected.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Simon Johns. There's my buddy from the UK. There's Jen Natana. Simon John. Let's see here. Happy Monday from the UK. Miriam. Hearts from Heart Relocation checking in there in the Netherlands. This is great. Tom Trainer. Hello from New York. What's up, Tom? Hey, you know this girl right here, Carolina.
That's my partner in crime.
Hello from Altavita. So excited to see my partner in crime on the show. That's fantastic. Okay, I got to ask, because I've met Carolina now through you. How did you two connect? I want to hear this quick story.
Sure. Actually, Carolina and I, we weren't friends before. We were introduced by a common friend who was also a co-founder of Altavita. He had other commitments, so we respected that he wanted to spend time with his family. But yeah, so the beautiful thing that came out of it is me meeting Carolina, who is like a sister to me. She's incredible. And it's really awesome how much we are alike. The passion, the vision that we share, this unwillingness to give up, and whatever it takes makes the whole journey really, really fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And we're going to hear more about Vivi's story as well as Altavita's story, learn more about the company. We got some people checking in here. Got a couple more cool little questions that we'll get started with before we get into the serious conversation. Henri, Miriam Van Kempen, you can't get more heartfelt than that. Let's see here. We've got two questions in a row here regarding the looks like there are good spirits lined up in the back for a nightcap after the call.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know what are in the beautiful decanters in the background.
Yeah, so I had this question earlier today. So this is a drinks cabinet inspired by Don Draper from Mad Men.
I love it.
We watched, my husband and I love the show. All 6 seasons, we watch all of them. What came out of it is he bought this, super, needed 10 11 care 1950s drinks cabinet for £50. And he spent a lot of nights renovating it. And so it's part of our corner now.
So you got a vintage little drinks cabinet. Is that what they call them? A drinks cabinet?
I don't know. I think so. I think we Googled 1950s drinks cabinet.
Nice, lovely. So what's in the decanter? Are those whiskeys or what?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds good. You're making us thirsty here.
This whiskey. So we've got a few Hibiki, Yamazaki. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah, I do. I know Hibiki. Sure. Yep. Santori time. Yep.
Suntory, yeah. Suntory bought up a lot of smaller whiskey distilleries in Japan. They're the king now. But the bad thing is that they killed a lot of these tiny small brands along the way.
Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you, since you are in the UK and Love and Relo typically comes on at 9:00 local time there, what is your Love and Relo drink of choice?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm a wine geek, so it's hard. I mean, I love whiskey, but right now you can't drink too much whiskey. Yeah, hit me up with wine.
Yeah, nice. Red or white? What varietal?
Both, all orange, wine, rosé.
Nice. I tend to be so if I'm doing this and I'm imbibing while I do this, it's typically you'll see a margarita with Tres Agaves organic mix, which is phenomenal, and Espolón Reposado tequila. That's typically my go-to for Love and Relo drinking, or if I'm doing a real personal show where I really want to get in the brown liquor, I'll get a bourbon, like a Four Roses or something. Something affordable, something responsible. There you go. Victoria McCullough checking in from scorching DFW, Dallas, Texas. Janaína Shaznowski coming in from Brazil. What's up, Janaína? Happy Monday, happy week. Janet, my kind of gal. That's great. All right, this is awesome. This is great. All right, well, let's get into it. So a couple things. When we first started talking, Vivi, the first thing I was kind of looking through your LinkedIn, and I was like, wait, you went to school in Michigan, down the road from me, just the hop, skip, and a jump down in Ann Arbor. You don't sound like a Michigander. So how did you end up in Ann Arbor at the U of M?
Well, it was a bit random. So I went to. I'm from Jakarta, by the way, everyone. And then when I was 11, my parents sent me and my siblings to boarding school. So I went to boarding school in Perth, in Western Australia. So it was the 1990s, right? After the end of Cold War, the US was this mysterious world superpower. And as a 17-year-old student, I just got so curious. America has a funny way to infiltrate the world, Hollywood, to say the least. Mm-hmm. So against my parents' wishes, I just did my research, right? Just online, Yahoo searching at the time, did my SAT test, wrote my college essay.
You just dated yourself when you said you were on Yahoo searching for college information. You totally dated yourself.
Well, it will come out. So sooner rather than later. It's probably better. 1990s, I said it even earlier.
Yeah.
So I just applied to several universities in the US then. In Australia, we finished high school kind of end of December, November. And then I didn't want to take time off. I just wanted to I don't know why. It's ambitious, whatever. And then the US freshman year doesn't usually start even until fall, right?
Right.
Michigan was one of the few that accepted winter application, and so I just tested my luck. And not long after, a large envelope saying "Congratulations, welcome to the U of M" came to my parents' house. And in a month's time, my parents came around. My whole family came with me. We flew to Detroit Airport on almost New Year's Eve, and we landed on this runway that was covered with snow, except for the runway itself.
Yeah.
So that's a simple story, how I ended up in Ann Arbor. It's a bit random from where my CV is now, but yeah, it was a nice life back then.
Yeah, and coming from Jakarta and Perth, I mean, had you even seen snow before you landed in Detroit?
Well, yes, I went to. I think I went to Yosemite when I was 9 years old. We did a tour of this Disneyland Universal Studio to Los Angeles with my parents.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And so you said you went to school in Perth, Australia. You were from Jakarta. You obviously went to school in the US, and now you're in England. How many countries have you lived in, Vivi?
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually lived in more cities than countries. So 11 cities together in total. So from Perth, and then Ann Arbor, right? And then I got my first job in New York, and I moved to Hong Kong and London with RMC. So I had this fully managed relocation packages before. So definitely a global mobility product. And then after London, I spent many years kind of traveling. When I travel, I ended up staying longer than I intended to. So I stayed in Shanghai for almost a year, and then in Tokyo as well. I also spent a lot of time in Burgundy in the Rhone Valley, the wine regions in France.
Wow, there's a lot there. Okay. So do you think that your travel and everything, we're going to get into Altavita, and there's a lot there to discuss, but I like to understand people's story kind of before I get into it, So do you think that all that travel and time spent in all those cities and your own global mobility journey and even some experience you mentioned, within RMC in the past moving you, I mean, do you think that somehow informed and inspired kind of your entree into the global mobility career?
Yeah. Sure, I could start with how kind of how I wanted to become a founder first.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
It is kind of like in the blood how I was brought up. So Chinese immigrant in Indonesia, we didn't have much viable options. So government posts and other professional are not in the card. So entrepreneurship, being a merchant or trades is a bit more common. And I think that I have this ability to absorb information quickly and then connect, like observing, and then that's it. So, and I'm also a curious person, and my sometimes my husband calls it a bit obsessive.
You say curious, he says obsessive. Okay. This sounds familiar. All right.
When it comes to concept, I like to draw a framework in my head, like to get all the concepts, the context, all the history, the expert opinion, and then just the nitty-gritty about everything, how everything come about. And then being an entrepreneur means that I have this kind of privilege, right, to quickly and independently implement my ideas, build prototype, seeing it through to completion. It's satisfying. I like to call myself the Steve Jobs of Altavita.
Yeah.
Obviously not the same caliber, but I am kind of overseeing the product development. So overseeing that vision, developing something that people use is for.
One of the things that Steve Jobs said. So I listened to his biography, and one of the things that he said was that people basically, I don't want to paraphrase this, probably butcher, but people don't know what they want until I show it to them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they could have never really dreamt of the iPhone or the iPod, until I made it. Do you think that that's true?
Yeah, it's so true. It is as a person with all these ideas in my head, I have to hold back to kind of like, wait a minute, do you think it's realistic when you tell this idea to other people? My husband is German, and he's super like fact-based. Everything has to make sense to him, and I have to really be careful when I tell him about my ideas to make sure that I'm not just floating in the cloud. But yeah, I think that I feel that way. I feel that I'm like way ahead of what people think they need in terms of product development, if that makes sense.
Well, let's talk. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that in terms of global mobility, and where do you think global mobility needs to be, and where is it right now?
Well, I mean, if we look at global mobility, I think that it's there are some companies who are disrupting it, who are supposedly streamlining the whole process. Companies like Nivo, Utopia, Ecosoft, Fuel 50, Localize, some of the newer players are there. They're disrupting the sector. Some of them are doing really well. Some are not. I actually don't know. If I look at their financials, it's not great.
Well, there's different things. There's product, there's adoption, and then there's financial, right? Yeah,
exactly. But that's also the startup mentality, right? So Uber is still not profitable. They've IPO'd.
Isn't that crazy? Uber is not. Everybody uses Uber. Everybody's got it on their phone, which is probably most people's definition, and a multi-billion-dollar valuation, most people's definition of success, and yet they're not profitable. Just mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, Airbnb was profitable like for a split second in 2017, and then it wasn't anymore until now. It's bleeding. And Amazon, the greatest story on earth, and we were just doing this research with Carolina. Like Amazon basically gained $400 billion during the pandemic. It's the most prospering company since COVID. But yeah, for decades they weren't profitable. So you in order to succeed the kind of story, you need to have a huge backup from investors who's willing to watch you bleed cash, and then hopefully monopolize the market and then win.
So that brings me kind of to, I want to go back now to, you decided that you wanted to be a founder, which I applaud and I envy. And then how did you decide, though, that Altavita was that child that you wanted to found?
Yeah, so I spent the first like 5 years in corporate finance, investment banking, doing a lot of M&A and IPO. And then after that, about 8 years in portfolio management of real estate assets, from residential, commercial to even industrials. And I do find it, very hard, right? Managing real estate assets. Illiquidity is one of the issues that comes, and then capital risk is also one thing that is hard to manage. So I looked at Altavita. I thought about the idea of kind of creating a business which leveraged my expertise in real estate, which is still the largest single asset in the world. But at the same time, I don't want to be kind of worrying about this asset capital risks and issues all the time. So I wanted to create a model that is able to be exposed to this largest asset, but that is at the same time away from illiquidity.
Right.
We created this AltoVita model, which I think is beautiful. It's designed with light operation and minimal balance sheet risks in mind.
Right.
We're running it now with flexibility, agility, which is what we've done. We've managed to swim through COVID pretty well. And then our technology is what allows us to scale really fast and effectively without being exposed to any capital risks.
So basically non-asset based real estate company, right? It's like, how do I?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do I get exposure to that market, which is a market I want to be in, but without all the capital requirements?
Exactly.
So let's tell everybody, because I mean, actually, we're over here, we're talking about Altavita, and we've mentioned it many times, but we haven't actually told people what AltoVita does. So why don't you tell us actually what AltoVita does?
Sure. So Altavita is, we call it cloud-based business to employee platform. It's a collaborative platform which we use to connect employees, assignees, relocation companies to, we call it duty of care compliant accommodations all around the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say a platform, so it's a platform. It's a website. It's a website where you can rent corporate apartments, furnished apartments, right? But then there's an extra layer that makes it different. Because let's be honest, right? I mean, there's a lot of corporate housing portals out there. It seems like every time I turn around, there's a new corporate housing portal out there, and it's hard for me as someone who frankly is not a buyer in this space to really know the difference, right? So for those of us who maybe aren't well versed, I mean, how do you differentiate AltoVita from some of the others that are out there?
Sure. This is what I preach every day. So we there are really three main points we differentiate ourselves. First is our awesome backend technology behind the scene, the things you don't see. Second is this our ability, while being tech-driven, data-driven, our ability to demonstrate and deliver duty of care with our two-tier vetting process. And then lastly, that human-centric approach as our foundation, because remember when you said, oh, corporate housing is not sexy, but it should be, because it is hospitality at the end of the day. It is, that first impression of your new city, the pied-à-terre that you use when you first relocate and explore your new life in your new city.
Mm-hmm.
I could talk all night about our technology behind it.
I want to hear more about it, because I think that the devil's in the details with that, right? Absolutely. But we've got some people that are making some cool comments over here. Henri, I did not know that you were in Bordeaux.
Hello. Okay.
That interesting.
We're from northern France, beer country.
Who knew? I didn't know. David Murray, hi everyone, a global mobility executive here in London. All right, got another Londoner here. My dad checking in here.
Oh, hi, Ben's dad.
Hey, Ben's dad.
Toronto.
Tom's bringing out old search engines. What about Alta Vista?
Yeah.
I think he was talking about Yahoo. He's like, why use Yahoo when you could have been using Alta Vista? Henri, you took destiny in your own hands. He's applauding your journey there as an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Rory checking in for Many Moves in Broadview. What's up, Rory? It's good to see you there. Tim Quirk from Western New York checking in. Henri's commenting here, smart move to check the financials.
Yeah, you're curious, right? Like like raising loads of money, you're having all these great clients. So what about their financials? How much have they actually made?
Yeah. Let me ask you along these lines here, though. Do you think that, let's say an RMC, right, the ones who contract for our services, whether it be, corporate housing or moving or whatever, do you think that they should review the financials of the service providers that they do business with?
Yeah, if I were them, of course, that I would do it. That's for sure. Because when I get in bed or in business with company, the onboarding process is so long, 6 to 12 months sometimes. So you don't want to repeat the same process again and again. Mm-hmm. So I think, as a startup, it is a challenge that we need to overcome. How can we convince partners to work with us if we are a young company?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know that this is done from time to time. It's not done oftentimes. It's not I would say predominantly done, but it is done from time to time. I know the U.S. government does it when they qualify providers. Mm-hmm. See, Tim Quirk says, my new motto, bleed, monopolize, win. That should be, hopefully one day that is your autobiography.
Well, it's not the philosophy we adopt at AltoVita. Like I said, I love to observe and learn.
Yeah, that's funny. That's great. That's great, Tim. You're hilarious. Julio, a great week to everybody. Hello, Julio. Carolina loves Tim Quirk citing you there. This is great. Let's see here. We've got some questions around. We got some temp housing questions here from Jamie. Jamie Master, what type of inventory do you utilize?
Yeah, I love it. I love this question. Yeah, so it's a great way to address it right now. So our inventories are usually made off of investment homes, flats, apartments that are not usually in the same building but operated by the same property managers who've been usually traditionally hospitality first before they are even a startup or any company who tries to monopolize by killing other competitors first. So they really are those property management companies who deliver consistent quality and management. So we also offer many different kinds of homes like villas, apartments, and also service apartments as well are in our portfolio.
So not only do you offer serviced apartments, which I think is what I think of when I think of corporate housing or temp housing, or you're gonna have to teach me what is the best term for, because I refer to this category with a lot of different terms.
Sure. I think that you ask if corporate housing or RMC or that world was what inspired me and Carolina to start this. It wasn't actually. Carolina and I, we just love traveling. We both lived in so many different cities, and that's what got us together. And we wanted to hit the market with what we call verified Airbnb type of apartment. That's what we launched the product with 3 years ago. And then as any good startup should do, we test many different marketing channels. We talk to many different audience, customers, gather feedback. So feedback, improve product, feedback, improve product. You never, I have to hold myself back from creating like over the top product, that Steve Jobs in me, and then really try to apply this discipline approach, which is to consistently gather market feedback before you spend too much money on product development. So that's what we did, and then we stumbled upon corporate housing, and when we did that, we were like, wow, this. I know this is not in any way try to be critical or anything. I think the industry has done great things, but at the same time, we think that from technology, we are surrounded by tech people in London here. From that perspective, it is still very traditional, offline, if you want so. I think we thought, wow, this needs a bit of disruption. We want to solve this complex supply chain that causes multi-layered cost structure. And then we see that a lot of employees don't get the best out of their budget because of this.
Describe that multi-layered cost structure though for me,
Sure.
if you would, because I don't know if everybody understands that. So how does it typically work?
Yeah, in corporate housing, everyone understands it. When we speak to a lot of the kind of the senior people from the industry, they get it, but they just get on with it, I suppose. So usually companies would enter into a contract with the RMCs, and the RMC would then outsource it to different corporate housing. But then that corporate housing perhaps may not have any inventory in a certain region, for example. So a US corporate housing is probably has a lot of excellent inventories in the US and probably around the world, but some obscure markets, let's call it South Africa. Yeah, so they'll have to work with another company.
Okay.
And then if that company isn't good enough, then they have to work with a company that is good enough, but may not have the right inventory. So that layer goes on, and sometimes it's 3, 4, 5 different companies working on one thing. And also it's a lot of it is driven by a quoting tool, which is designed to the thesis is designed to get the best price from suppliers. But in reality, it takes a lot of time for the suppliers to upload everything manually on their system. And think of one Nike employee relocating from Chicago to London. It takes like 20 different companies kind of bidding on the same booking. Time is valuable. It's expensive. So
Sure.
yeah.
I hear that. I hear that all the time. I hear that from my friends that are in the corporate housing, businesses, that they spend, 7 hours out of 8 just manning the portal and, writing bids and sending bids back and responding to quote requests as fast as possible, and almost like hamsters on a wheel, and they're just running, trying to keep up with the demands that come in for some of these portals. And it's all because they're trying to offer the illusion of automation, but in reality, they're just a bunch of humans working fast.
Exactly. So I wanted to address, the first point, why we think we are different. So our system feeds in property content with live rates and availabilities directly from hundreds of different property management companies' system, right? So we build our system so that it can communicate with other systems. When someone, so a property manager manages, from 5 to even sometimes 100 different properties. So they're busy, right, doing check-in and check-out, kind of managing different bookings. By all means, they should be, because that's their job. But when something is changed from their side, it feeds automatically to our system. So the price and the availability is updated automatically. Not only that, what's even more important is that uploading of the content. So no one has to kind of upload 20 pictures on someone's database manually now, because all of the pictures will then be streamlined directly from the property management system itself.
So this is really interesting, and I have a lot of questions about that, but I'm going to hold my questions because I see people with questions here that are watching, and I see Yuki Watanabe from LinkedIn here. Are the properties still subject to the same local regulations as typical temp housing, i.e., minimum 30 days, etc.? Good question, Yuki.
Sure, it's very, very different from one market to another. In Europe, for example, we talk about Barcelona versus London is already very different. So yeah, we look at those markets which we can work with the regulation. So if there are markets which don't allow, like in Japan, for Tokyo, for example, they don't allow anything that is below 30 days. So we can't work in Tokyo for below 30 days, but we can for above 30 days.
So that's a universal regulation for any company operating in Tokyo. Let me ask you, does a company like an Airbnb, are they able to get around that, or does that also apply to them as well?
I think so. I think no companies, especially Airbnb, who's always under a scrutiny all the time, would want to work around regulation. They need to work with the regulators.
Okay, we got some really great questions, and I love these questions. Keep these questions coming, these comments as well, because I think your questions are really helping us understand Altavita's business model, and I think they're great. So Henri has a question about Airbnb and says, how do you set yourselves apart from, let's say, a ubiquitous competitor like an Airbnb?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I get this question all the time.
Especially probably from investors, right? Because that's probably the one they know, especially as outsiders.
Yeah, of course. So Airbnb is a great company, right? It's inspired a whole industry, essentially. We call it the short-term rentals industry. And, huge respect for the founders for what they've done. But at the same time, at this point, well, not at this point. Let's rewind 6 months ago. Their focus was in IPO. They wanted to do everything, not only just Airbnb Plus, Airbnb Lux. They wanted to do transportation. They meddled into hotels, so on and so forth. But as a result, they built a company that's not, I don't want to say this, but it's not sustainable, right?
Well, you already said it wasn't profitable. It was profitable for a glimmer in time in 2017, and that was 3 years ago. So,
COVID hit, and then within a month you'd have to raise like, I don't know, a few billions at a much lower valuation.
A few billion, yeah.
So
No problem.
I mean, what we do in Altavita is just one thing: corporate housing, and we want to do it well. We are focused, and then we see that we want to solve a problem, which is this multi-layered cost structure. We know what the solution should be. Our system is superb. Our two-tier vetting process, which Carolina developed, is well known in the industry. A lot of suppliers and clients that we work with know this.
Talk about that two-tier vetting system, because I don't think I really caught that.
Sure.
So can you go through the second tier there?
Yeah, so that's our second differentiator. So that duty of care, right? In relocation industry, you have to know duty of care inside out. So our solution for that is to make sure that when the properties are uploaded onto our system, seamlessly, automatically, whatever, the team goes through all of them, not just on the supplier level, but also every property. We know that many competitors just vet the supplier, and then they, however the properties are, they just don't care. But we can, every single property we list on AltoVita.com, you can see that, yes, that's something that I can send my assignees to. That's for sure.
How do you actually like physically manage the vetting of that property? Like how do you do that?
Do you want all the intel?
Well, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, if it's proprietary, I get it, but it just seems like quite the logistics, effort.
Yeah, it is. And then, we vet the property. We look at the quality of the property manager, their professionalism. We keep track of how their performance, the past performance, and then, do a bit of trajectory assumptions, right, from there. And then we also look at the second tier, by the way, is before any assignee arrives into that apartment, we send an independent inspection like 3 days before to make sure that everything is fine. If there is any issue, they're addressed before they arrive. If it's not addressed when they arrive, it's we tell them this is currently not working. Apologize for that, but it's being fixed right now, and it will be there tomorrow. So at least you're educated of the issue, rather than, oh shit, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Yeah.
And then I like how you're pounding your fist while you're talking to him. I'm picking that up as well. It's very authoritative. I like it. Jamie's got another question here too. He says, what type of inventory? No, he already asked that question. He's got another question, I promise. He said, so your properties are mainly managed by suppliers versus privately owned rentals?
Versus privately owned rentals. We think that landlords are not always the best managers. It's very rare that you can be both. Yeah. So we work with many privately owned properties, but in addition, we need to make sure that there is a property manager who can deliver that accountability.
Okay. Cool. Makes sense. Let's see here. We've got, Jamie's got some great questions. Keep them coming. I love it. All right. Yuki has another question here. Look at Yuki getting involved here. Says, does RMC use your service, or is the service only open to corporate? What about an individual basis? I think Yuki's making her travel plans right now. She's making
That's a great question. Thank you so much, Yuki, for asking this question. So we designed our platform to be collaborative. When we say collaborative, it means that, yes, we work with RMCs. We also work with direct corporates. And then at the same time, it's called a B2E platform, right? That means businesses and RMCs, they can have some control towards the selection, but it is actually encouraging the individual assignee or employee to search and book themselves in the self-service mode. But how does the RMC or the corporate control and make sure that all of the selections are in accordance with corporate policy? So in our platform, you're able to select the range of price for different type of assignee. So obviously, executive will have much bigger budget than an intern, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, you can literally filter all the selection the way you can with Booking.com, but as a manager, the relocation manager or the global mobility professional, to set those parameters so that your assignees can have much wider selection, but at the same time within corporate policies.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Let's see here. Wow, we got some great questions. Everybody wants to know about the business model. This is fantastic.
Okay.
Look at this. Jamie's over here. He wants to get his properties listed, I think. Is AltoVita pay per book, or do you charge a flat fee for your platform?
Huh. Okay.
You can tell Jamie you don't want to answer his question. I'm going to keep encouraging him, and you keep telling him you don't want to answer him, and we'll just no.
Yeah. So on AltoVita.com, you can book as an individual. Yeah, you don't have to work with a company. You can have access to all of the properties on AltoVita.com. But if we were to work with an RMC or corporate, our platform is free to use, at least for the first 12 months. And then after the month 13, once you get to know the platform and you like it, then you can decide it's not for much.
Once you really get your hooks in them, right? And then you can charge.
12 months is a long time.
Yeah. First we bleed, then we monopolize, then we win. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're having fun. Let's see here. Jamie says, oh, look at Mike Quigley getting in the action there. Mike, good to see you, buddy. Look at that. Look at that. Always agree with Yuki. That's always a good one there. He had a question. Hotel tax? You pay hotel taxes on the platform?
No. There are some CT taxes that we have to pay. But otherwise, the property managers must make sure that they have the right licenses. They pay all of their taxes.
Okay. Cool. And then Jamie's back with more questions here. I'm telling you, he's going to start listing. He's going to ask to list his properties on here. He says, does AltaVita handle live bookings, or does your system prompt for availability?
Live, yeah, you can do live booking. You can do it right now on AltoVita.com.
Okay. So it's actually live, because a lot of times, you see something that looks live, and then it's like, oh yeah, come on in. Oh yeah, give me your information. Oh yeah. Hold on a minute, and then it turns into like 3 days.
Yeah. That's what we want to change. That's how corporate housing landscape is like. It's always request to book, and then there's like, I don't know, maybe 25 different reservation people around the world working on the same booking. For us, it's live availability, live stream, and book it. It's as fast as possible. But at the same time, we know that the buying cycle is longer, usually for longer stay, right? So we're not just going for the weekend or for one night, which you can just use Booking.com for that. Usually stay for a month or 2 months. So the buying cycle, you want to think about it. So yeah, we still want to give you that human approach, a human-centric approach to our clients.
Got it. Let's see here. Jason Rollins, also from the corporate housing industry. Who coordinates and pays for the independent inspection?
That's AltoVita.
Nice. So you guys provide all that. Look at that. All right, let's see here. We got one here from, and sometimes they don't come off. So I always got to see who this is here. It says, I can see, oh gosh, that's not populating who that is. I can see M&A potential here, given your background in investment banking. Has straggling business come to you with proposal?
Not yet, but we're constantly monitoring M&A activities in the sector. There are a few companies that we are in the lookout for.
Okay, all right. Henri says, thank you for the time. Explain to us your business. Vivi, all right. Let's see.
My pleasure.
Yeah, they're loving it here. Let's see here. Let's see. Gavin Pereira says, the independent inspection prior to arrival sounds amazing, but how do you manage this check across various countries in a cost-effective manner? That's what I was saying, Gavin. That sounds like so hard. I can't even make sure all rooms in my house are suitable for guests and visitors. How do you make sure? How many units do you guys have on the platform, roughly?
So right now we have about 20,000 properties live.
Wow.
These are not just network of properties. They are live online right now with AltoVita.com, and as well as our collaborative platform So our collaborative platform is essentially a white labeling API. So I said before, we work collaboratively with the industry. We can label it like any relocation company, so that it doesn't seem like as if the assignee has to leave from the relocation company's portal or website, so on and so forth.
So you got 20,000 units.
20,000.
And how many continents?
Oh.
4 or 5.
4 continents? Yeah, I don't think we're Africa.
So to Gavin's question, this sounds amazing, but how do you manage that check across various countries in a cost-effective manner?
Yeah,
do you guys like use like a DSP or something, or do you do like a video?
No. We have
Pull back the curtain for us a little bit here.
Yeah, sure. Independent hospitality. What do you call this? Specialist around the world. We don't have them on our payroll, that's for sure. So they are paid per inspection.
Yeah.
So the key is obviously the secret sauce is to find them.
Wow. Okay. You hear that, everybody? That's the secret sauce. You heard it here first on Love and Relo. Find a bunch of IHSs. Let's see here. All right, we got some other great questions here as well. Wow, you guys are doing my job for me. I love this. Let's see here. We often take for granted some aspects of our jobs because we are seasoned professionals while still being total noobs in other aspects. That's probably referring to my hosting the show. LinkedIn, this is Yuki, I think, again here. I may have missed this in the beginning, but where did the name Altavita come from?
Yeah, Carolina and I, we spent like a lot of time WhatsApping each other when we were trying to find a name. Yeah, we wanted to use a Latin word because we had this ambition from the very beginning that we would be global. So we want something that can be easily pronounced by the whole planet. And Latin is good. But at the same time, we need to make sure that the .com is available. So there is restriction. But we like Alto because it's like high, means high in Latin. Mm-hmm. And Vida is life. So that's our aspiration. We want to give everyone the opportunity to be able to live high.
Mm-hmm. The high life, yeah.
The high life, exactly.
As we say here in the States,
although
the high life.
It is grammatically incorrect in Italian, perhaps in Latin as well. But hey, we live in a world where there's Spotify, Shopify.
Yeah. Grammar went out the window like 15 years ago with these domains, okay? We just forget about it, right? Forget about it. That's great. I like it. The high life. That's cool. Rory says, my internet went out of work. Thanks for sharing, Rory. I appreciate that. Jamie says, does your system have leases for the assignees to sign, or do you operate like a hotel in a confirmation of booking? If no lease, how do you protect your suppliers or owners?
Yeah, great question. So at the moment, we specialize in kind of the midterm rental, right? So between 1 to 3 months. And usually with that, sometimes, yes, some suppliers require the leases to be signed, but most of the time not. Although, yes, we are now kind of studying, educating ourselves about the longer leases. So I wanted to ask Ben or for us to ask the audience.
Yeah, let's do it. Ask the audience. Ask the audience. What are we asking the audience today?
So, the way we see when we build a product, we need to know who we're building the product for. And we define our market is the younger population, millennials for sure, but also the incoming Gen Z. Yeah. So these two, the millennials and Gen Z, will dominate our workforce in the next decade or 2 decades or so. Mm-hmm. So they want like instant housing. They wouldn't want to pay upfront 2-month or 3-month deposit and enter into long leases, which they have to pay penalty for when they break. Okay. So the trend right now in hospitality, at least, is to supply the market with kind of co-living product, right? More flexible, ready to move in furnished housings, which does not usually most of the time doesn't require like credit check or background check or reference check, so on and so forth, like the way they do here in the UK for long-term leases. So the question is for the audience: do you think that going forward the market wants fully furnished homes, or do you think that the kind of more traditional long-term leases, move all your furniture with you when you move to another continent. Bring all of them with you.
So basically, with the long-term furnished apartment leases, would furnished apartments replace unfurnished for for permanent resident? Yeah, it's funny. So let's answer that question here. If you're watching this, we got about 21 people on LinkedIn. We got about 3 on Facebook right now. Go ahead. I'd love to hear everybody. Just yes, it will. Yes, furnished will replace, or no, it won't, because dang, that's expensive. Who could afford that? So I think it's interesting, because the first time I even heard about this concept, I was watching HGTV, and it was a show about expats looking to move to some country. And invariably it was, some family who, the husband and the wife both worked, from home, or 2 partners, they work from home, and they had the ability to kind of explore digital nomadism, or maybe they got a job transfer to the Caribbean or something, right? And okay, well, let's see how far our money's going to go down here, And a lot of times it went pretty far with the view, but it didn't necessarily go very far with the air conditioning and the kitchen appliances, right? Yeah. And so, but what they would run into all the time was half the units were furnished, which to me is kind of mind blowing. It's well, if it's furnished, what are you going to do with your furniture? It's oh, you don't bring your furniture, right? And then I start talking to all of the folks, let's say in South America, right? And they're yeah, we don't really move everybody for the most part. They just come and we don't move their household goods. Maybe they're only there for a couple of years, or something. And of course, as a mover, I'm what do you mean you don't move their household goods? But I kind of get it. It's nice. I walk into these furnished apartments, that I have the pleasure of staying at, every once in a while when I go to Chicago or somewhere. And I'm man, these places are gorgeous inside. It's nicer than my own house, the way it's decorated, right? I got nothing to add here, and why would I? Now, I don't know if I want to pay an extra $1,000 a month, in the lease or not, but maybe I would. I don't know. So be really curious to hear what everybody else thinks out there. Let's see. We got a couple answers coming. What do you think, Vivi? What's your preference?
Well, we're in comfort housing business, so yeah, that's
so forget my own furniture, forget my own 1950s restored drink cabinet from Don Draper era, and my lovely picture of some sort of mountain behind me. I don't need any of that stuff. Just give me the IKEA that's freshly built for me when I move in. Okay, all right, Vivi. Let's see. That's funny. Let's see. All right, so let's take a look here at our little unofficial poll here. Depends on location, but probably furnished. Yuki says depends on location, probably furnished will be the trend. Yeah, I mean, and I think it also. I mean, this is already a popular option outside the U.S. I think within the U.S., I think it's going to be interesting if that could ever take hold. And it's another thing too about this, because I've thought about this, is if you have stuff, you have to move into a place that's unfurnished. If you have no stuff, you like the idea of a furnished place. But if you have a bunch of stuff and you want to move into a furnished place, what do you do with all the stuff?
Well, I think that, the younger generation, they just don't have stuff to begin with. So they don't want to start buying stuff if there are options.
So you get them on the cycle early. You get them in that cycle of renting furnished early.
Exactly.
Before they acquire stuff.
For me, I have a lot of furniture. This is just 3 of many.
Wait, that's not all your furniture right there?
Yeah. So we'll have to move into an unfurnished apartment at some point. But
yeah. I could see where it's you rent a house, you rent furniture. You buy a home, you buy furniture. I could see that being the paradigm.
But I also have a friend who moved from Singapore to London. She had all this beautiful, teak wood furniture in Singapore. And when she moved to London, she said this furniture will not look good in rainy London. So she sold all of them and then bought brand new furniture when she moved to London.
Well, and it's true. And you start getting into the habit of disposing of your furniture so much, right? Now we're throwing away sofas and throwing away kitchen tables, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're just not the style anymore. And it's kind of sad. It's really sad. I don't know if it happens in other countries, but it happens in the United States quite a bit. It's really sad. Let's see here. We got some folks chiming in here. Rob says, having just moved and waiting for new furniture to be delivered. Yep. I'd want furnished units, but I'm biased. Yeah. Yeah, that's the joke, right? You move into a new place and you have to have a whole new decoration scheme, you know? And then what do you do with the stuff? And you just spent 10 grand to move it there. Henri, Vivi, tough question. I can't answer. It's great comment. I wonder what web analytics and data science would show.
I think it would be good to show some results of survey based on different demographics.
Yes. Well, but I think this is one of those questions where people might answer it a certain way, but they might do something completely different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
Where they lie. People lie a lot, even by accident. It's weird. All right, let's see here. Anka, what does Anka have to say about it? Honestly, I think I would want furnished apartments, but with an option to choose my furniture.
Oh, yeah.
A few choices would be nice depending on my style and the location. My style changes based on the apartment layout.
This is exactly what a product manager or like me would like to hear, feedback from user. And then already in my head, how do I create this solution?
Yeah, like that's cool. So you get that. Oh man, that's really cool. So you get the beautiful high rise in New York or whatever, and you're like, okay, I want to go modern. Okay, now I'm going to move to Seattle, or I'm going to move to London, or I'm going to move to Singapore, right? And I'm going to go teak, whatever, right? It's like, and you could pick different suites of furniture, maybe even have a designer put something together for you. And then that way, as your styles change, right, you can always be with the most in style furniture. That's great. Might be the best comment of the day. That one was good. You win, Anka. Wait, hold on. Wait, we got more. William Taylor, yes, lots of individuals putting stuff in storage and moving elsewhere right now. Work from anywhere is the big trend in the workforce.
Yeah,
exactly. So William, are you going temp furniture, temp housing, temp furniture? Is that your vote? Yes. Please clarify, William. Let me know where you stand. Let's see here. Jamie Massler. Let's see here. Jamie's got a question. How have you managed your live bookings with COVID for assignees located in countries with travel bans? Bookings.com had a serious problem accepting and confirming OTA bookings that were not frontline workers.
Yeah.
Man, Jamie's throwing curveballs.
So I think that, whether or not they want to proceed with the booking and then in the end fly to the destination is a lot of it is driven by the assignee itself and what the company's regulation or companies have chosen to do. So yeah, from our perspective, because we don't do a 1 night, 2 night, weekend stay, we still have a lot of supply for extended stays.
We've got Carolina coming in, says, I am following a zero furniture policy.
Yeah, this is millennial.
That's great.
There you go.
William Taylor, I'm moving to Detroit. What does that mean? Oh, your furniture got stolen? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means, William. I love you, man. Let's see here. Darren says, hi from Seattle. What's up, Darren? Rob says, I might go unfurnished for bedroom and living room, furnished for kitchen and elsewhere, and everything like shelves, tables, TV stand. Bedroom.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I guess so. What is that? Because like you're spending a lot of time in those like personal areas because you're like, I guess maybe. New idea for a furniture exchange rental app, Airbnb. I'm sorry. I don't even know why it's the dad in me. I'm a dad now and I laugh at these jokes. Tom says there are furniture as a service companies. I can see this being a trend towards furnished in cities, but not in the burbs. I don't know, Tom. I'm just trying to keep up my neighbors' furnished homes right now, and their furniture is amazing. I probably need to rent some stuff, but it gets expensive. I mean, that's the thing. See, I think we asked this question in a vacuum, and I think this is a problem, right? Because we asked this question in a vacuum. It's like, hey, who wants a nice furnished apartment? I do. Okay, cool. But like, what's the cost? Because if it's like $1,200 a month in addition to my rent of
No,
15,
it's not like that. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, if you compare it to long-term leases, maybe. But if the world is moving that way towards furnished homes, and when I say the world is moving that way, it means the millennials becoming older, the Gen Z entering the workforce. And that's what their demand is, and yeah, the supply just adjusts, and they won't do it by just increasing the price. And there are many companies now offering furnished flats, like the rise of Sonder or Vacasa, for example, who do this. They provide furnished homes.
what do you think the increase in cost is though for that?
Well, it is part of the offering. It's a part of the kind of, I would say it would fall in the marketing budget rather than like as a cost. Cost.
Mm-hmm. Cost of goods sold, sure. Got Katie checking in. Everybody's having fun with this. Yuki's out. See you, Yuki. It was good seeing you. Yeah. So okay. Well, you know what? This is so fantastic. This is so interesting. I love this conversation. I love, ideating about the future and imagining, what does housing look like, both for corporate transferees as well as just us, right? But I wanted to, as we're kind of running out of time here and as we're wrapping here, Vivi, I wanted to offer you just an opportunity to kind of leave us with a final thought here. Give us a final word here that you want to leave our audience
with. Thank you, Ben. So yeah, I think Carol and I would agree that we both love this sector because of the global mindset professionals from all over the world working together. And I want to leave this discussion by saying that our technology is really designed to be collaborative, and we want to collaborate with all verticals of the relocation sector, including other corporate housing providers as well. So let our system communicate with your system and then deliver this unparalleled industry collaboration that it has never seen before, so that we can offer a better offering to our clients, and happier clients. This means that everyone can now return to work.
Yeah, right. I love it. That's awesome. Vivi, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing, your time and taking all these questions. And it's really been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, really, for the opportunity. Thank you, Ben. So yeah, we'll speak again soon.
Sounds good. I can't wait. And thanks to everybody that chimed in here with questions. This has been fantastic. Really appreciate everybody's involvement. The questions have been excellent. We have Camilla from BASF down in South America with us tomorrow. So that's going to be very exciting as we get some more LATAM, including Brazil insight here. So can't wait to have her on as well. We've got a great lineup this week. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.